So 3D spatial, in the early days, we would say virtual reality, but really what we were building was 3D spatial learning tools that were deployed through virtual reality. And now today we're deploying them in so many other ways, whether it's, augmented reality or PCs and Chromebooks. And so the reality is that learning through 3D spatial environments and tools is less about the hardware that you receive it on and more about the ability to learn better in a 3D spatial world. So our mission at VictoryXR is just change the way the world learns using 3D spatial technology. And when I say change, I hope for the better. I was listening to Elon Musk talk about space travel, something he knows a little bit about. And he was talking about how the United States put a man on the moon in 1969. And then the Apollo missions were over. And then we had the space shuttle that could get humans into lower space, just barely out of our general atmosphere. And then after they retired the space shuttles, the United States really had no way to move humans in. So change doesn't always move forward. And especially we understand that with AI. As we change, we can move forward in a positive way or maybe in not a positive way. And we've seen those dystopian movies plenty of times. A lot of people have figured out that AI is a big deal. There are 67,200 AI startups. And, here's what this is one of the big takeaways I want you to think about. Most of those AI companies are either behind the scenes or if they're consumer facing, student facing, they're about text and chatting. So like if you go to Khan Academy's AI, it's about text entry. That's how you communicate with the AI. What we believe is that AI really, this whole text thing is just a short interlude between this and communicating directly with the AI. I'm a Star Trek fan, so it's not different than data, the character data in Star Trek Next Generation. And so that's where we are going, and that's the type of learning tools that we want to provide. This is where we think that we are unique. First of all, what we are offering to students and to teachers and professors and corporate training executives is conversational AI. So if you have a question, you ask it. The AI teacher is teaching about a particular subject. We all know how this works. We're sitting in class, our teacher is teaching us something, we don't understand it, but very few people raise their hand because, you know what, it might be a stupid question. Maybe I wasn't paying attention and she said this 2 minutes ago and I was thinking about something outside the window, so we don't ask. So conversational AI Q&A, extremely important. I'm going to show you this in just a moment. 3D objects being integrated. So think about if you want to learn small engine repair, it's one thing to look at photos or to watch a video. It's another thing to be able to touch and manipulate a 3D version of that small engine. So extremely important. And to integrate the AI into that is in our opinion, critical to teaching and learning. We also integrate actual teaching from the AI and the ability to include demonstratives. So again, going back to the Khan Academy example, because that's what I first looked at when I was trying to figure out what really should we be thinking about with ours. And with Khan Academy, it doesn't teach, it answers questions. I mean, it teaches through answering questions. The way we've set ours up for you to use and for you to build your own is that you can actually have your AI teach a subject. And it can be anything. It could be, obscure French history. It could be something related to molecular biology. And so it's really important that the AI starts by teaching and then answers questions and having demonstratives, charts, images, things like that. Very important when you're teaching so that people can visually see it or 3D objects. Then Fourth are regular assessments. So in our system, we build this option in for you to stop and assess whether the student is learning, whether they're getting it right or wrong, which we all know, it's foundational, right? You need to learn point number one before you move on to point number two. Fifth, and this is really what will set our tool apart and what will give your students, your faculty, this incredible power is to build their own AI. And I'm going to show you what this will look like in just a moment. But to be able to build it own in a matter of an hour or 2 hours, that's a really powerful tool if you can build it and then deploy it. And we're going to also discuss why. Why would you want to do that? What's the use case here? And then this can be deployed to both Chrome browsers and on our VXR labs through VR headsets or PCs. So, there's really no friction any longer. If somebody doesn't have access to a Chrome browser, there just aren't many people like that. So there are 2.6 billion Chrome browsers in the world, people using Chrome browsers, and there are 33 million VR headsets. So it's two different groups. As you may all know, we love the immersiveness of virtual reality. But in a lot of cases, you don't need to go that immersive. You can simply hit a Chrome browser and get the same thing. So let me show you this short video, which will explain a lot of what I'm talking about.
Hi, welcome to VictoryXR's virtual invertebrate biology lesson demo. Yes, what is your question? Great question. An invertebrate is an animal without a backbone. Invertebrates make up the majority of animal species on Earth.
Welcome to our forklift safety training session. Yes, what is your question?
What OSHA regulations should I be reading to understand forklift safety?
Great question. You should start by reviewing OSHA Standard 29 CFR 1910.178, which covers safety regulations for forklifts.
Okay, I will read that. But can you tell me how much weight I can put on a forklift?
It's important to remember not to exceed the rated load capacity for your forklift, as outlined by the manufacturer.
Hi there, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your interest in my office spaces. Is there somewhere specific you'd like to begin?
I need to make sure we can sublet all or part of the office space. Can we put that into the agreement?
I understand the importance of flexibility for your business operations, including the ability to sublet the office space.
Let me just pause right back here. So notice you can choose your grade level. This is really a cool tool. So, if you're teaching invertebrate biology, explaining it to a freshman in college is very different than explaining to a freshman in high school. So having the ability to choose your grade level is going to be a big deal. I got to back up one more thing. This always cracks me up. Choose your avatar personality. We need to just make sure we add in like the cranky old guy in here, which would be my favorite one to add. Okay, moving on. All right, pausing it one more time here. So this beta is just a few days from being released. Tyler Goodman, who is our lead developer on this, is furiously coding away to get this beta ready to go in the next 7 to 10 days. So if you have an interest in working with us and trying the early beta out before we release it publicly, just go to victoryxr.com/early and sign up on that little form so that we get you in there and you can help us, make this work the way it needs to work. All right, that's that. So let's move on. Okay, so now we're going to look at the actual AI program. So what you see here is we have a number of these different programs, and it takes generally less than 60 seconds to load up. Now, you might run into a case where you've got slow internet, but for the most part, it's not much of a wait. And once you do, then now you're in a fully 3D environment, right? So
There are over 300 species of squid. The classification of the squid we will be working with today is on the whiteboard behind me. Yes,
now
what is your question?
All right, I can either click this and ask it, or I can go right here and type it in. So I don't understand what a genus is. So now Wendy's going to think about this for about 5 seconds, and
Great
then
question. Think of
Well,
a
thank you.
genus as a group or a category that includes species that are closely related to each other. It's like having a family surname that groups related individuals. For example, in the genus Homo, we have Homo sapiens, modern humans, and other related species. In invertebrates, the genus Drosophila includes several species of fruit flies. Does that help clarify?
Now, actually, that doesn't really help clarify enough for me. So I could ask another question if we had more time, but I'm going to just resume the lesson here.
This particular squid type is classified in the phylum Mollusca and class Cephalopoda. Mollusca is the second largest animal phylum behind the arthropods, and evidence indicates that mollusks have been around for more than 600 million years. Now let's get into some specific characteristics of this animal. Cephalopods are mollusks with tentacles, a siphon, a closed circulatory system, and well-developed eyes. They move by jet propulsion and most lack an external shell. The nautilus is the only cephalopod with a complete shell, while the octopus has lost its shell completely.
Okay, now I've paused it, so I'm going to stop sharing this tab and go back to this tab. So what you see here is you've got a 3D object, which we could go more in depth. We could open it up. We could see organs, that type of thing. But and then what you don't see is the assessment that comes next in here, because we just don't have time to wait for the assessment. But all of those things that we discussed, the ability to have a two-way conversation with your teacher, ask a question at any point and get clarification. And if the answer you get is not good enough, go deeper, go further. And you know what? There's no embarrassment because you're the only one here. All right, I want to show you another cool one. This is CJ. Now, this was built with Seton Hall University, and this is for their therapy counseling course. And the students receive a little backgrounder on CJ, who is a student at Seton Hall University and has recently been diagnosed, tragically, with MS. So you click, so the student who is taking the course clicks Join Now. This is going to download. Now, the cool thing about this that you're going to see in this one that you won't see, that you didn't see in the last, actually download a, you can actually download the transcript. Okay, I got to share. Hang on. I got to share the right one here. Tyler, what are you seeing on your screen? Are you still seeing the me?
You're not sharing at all, Steve.
Yeah, okay, I'm not sharing at all. Let me go to share. Hang on. Oops, there we go. Okay. Here we go. Thank you, everybody. I need somebody driving for me. All right. You should be seeing our patient now.
There he is.
Yeah. CJ, how are you feeling today? He's thinking now.
Not great, honestly. This whole MS diagnosis has me worried. I don't know how it's going to affect my job or just life in general. It's a lot to take in.
So, CJ, are you feeling depressed? Do you have suicidal thoughts?
Yeah, feeling kind of down. It's hard not to think about all the what ifs, especially with my job at A2Z Delivery. Just hoping I can keep things as normal as possible, but it's tough.
So, CJ, would it be good if we introduced you to some resources that might be able to help you with your mental health?
I don't know about that. I guess some help wouldn't hurt. It's just a lot to deal with, but yeah, some resources might help me figure things out.
Things I forgot to do is to click this, so it seems like I need to stop him. But anyway, to click this so that it seems like it's an actual two-way remote counseling session. The other thing is over here now, this is the transcript. So you can download the transcript. This goes to the professor or the teacher, and this can be done in anything. It could be done with a counseling app. It could be done with a 6-year-old boy who has an earache and you're in a nursing class, or it could
Not
be.
sure what you mean by all that. Can we
Yeah, I
keep
know.
things simple? I'm already trying to keep up with everything else going on.
I get it, my friend. It's hard. But anyway, I'm going to stop sharing this tab. Get rid of CJ here. Go back over here. Go back to my slide deck. Okay. So you sort of see what the potential is there. And you notice some latency. Now, that latency is, 5 to 8 seconds typically between the time you ask the question and the time you get an answer. But here's the great thing. OpenAI, which we build on top of their large language model, OpenAI had an announcement last week that dramatically reduces that latency. So you're going to see that latency down to 1 to 3 seconds. And that really changes the whole feel of the experience. And it's just getting faster and better all the time. So these are the current 4 models. I don't even know if this is accurate because we keep adding new every day, but there's the teacher trainer model. If you have something to teach, then actually I should go like this. Oh, wrong button, slideshow. So if you have this model, the teacher trainer model, you can teach something that you want to teach, and that could be anything. The product expert, we're not showing you this today due to time, but for example, Daikin is Amana. They create heaters and air conditioners, and we have a salesperson, an expert who can talk to consumers about these products. Same could be done for admissions at a university. If people wanted to tour the school and talk to an expert about the school, tuition, whatever the case might be. Patients, you saw CJ, the patient, so you sort of get an idea on that. And then a negotiator. We worked with Indiana University's Kelley School of Business on this product. And so if you want to train people in the art of negotiation, we just added, so this is the tool we also used for our HR employee handbook. Think about, we all have employee handbooks, right? And I don't know anybody who ever reads them from beginning to end. So now there's an AI that you just go and talk to. You say, hey, could you explain maternity leave to me? Or could you go explain how our PTO works, that type of thing. And then the AI, using this negotiator model, takes that information and explains it. So we're expanding these all the time, but it's a pretty cool tool. So think in terms of different benefits that are coming through this sort of AI spatial learning. First of all, role-playing sims, whether it's the patient model or something else. And second, we all know what a textbook is, but the definition of a textbook is changing. And so the information on the page of a textbook can now be presented, and you can have a live AI answering questions about that. I can remember when I was studying finance at the University of Iowa, frequently I ran into concepts on the pages of the textbook, but there was no way to ask anybody at 11 o'clock at night while I was studying at the school library. Those days are over. This is the new textbook. Finally, it's affordable for everybody. For example, our VictoryXR license, it's $150 a year, which is less than $15 a month to have access to this, and also be able to build your own, deploy your own. So it's really a solution that is going to make a big difference for a lot of people. We always talk about how we get to equity in education. That's the deal. We have a basic license model, but we also have some enterprise licenses, and we're developing an enterprise license for an entire school. But if you think in terms of just the $150 per year, that's one way to go about it. But if you want access for everybody in the school, well, it's going to be less than that. And so it's going to be significantly less than that, because we can just build out the enterprise school license for AI. So reach out to us if you have questions about this. I'm saving enough time for questions here at the end, but info@VictoryXR.com is the easiest way to reach us, info@VictoryXR.com. We also have a couple of key salespeople, John at VictoryXR.com and Erica at VictoryXR.com. We'll type those into the chat right now. But I'm going to thank you, John. I'm going to just pause and answer questions, and you can either just Cassie can unmute you, or you can type your questions into the chat. So
People should have the ability to unmute themselves too.
Okay. Unmute yourself. Ask me a question. We have about 5 minutes. I can go a little bit over if we need to. So just let me know. And we'll leave a couple of our VictoryXR folks on here as well, so that you can continue asking questions even after I have to leave the call.
So this is more so a statement. I love how this platform is developing. This is really an excellent platform. And thank you for providing this tutorial and giving us access to the beta content.
Sure, Vernon, and as always, we appreciate you. What we know is we need to create something that is no code, that opens up AI to everybody without having to hire a developer. So this is how we're going to deploy it. And I didn't really talk about this, but you'll be able to include your own IP that will be in a walled garden away from OpenAI's large language model, or you can access just all of the information that's in OpenAI. But how you structure it really matters. Think about if you're a professor at a chiropractic college or at a medical school with orthopedic surgeons, and someone asks about lower back pain. Those are two different answers, and you need to structure yours so that if you're the chiropractic school, it gives one answer. If it's the orthopedic surgeon, it gives a different answer, because there's a lot of approaches to lower back pain. So Craig, what are your thoughts today?
Thanks, Steve. I know the other piece to your puzzle is having wonderful virtual spaces, like taking students to the moon or taking them to ancient Greece or Rome. Are these AI avatars able to complement you as you visit some of these wonderful virtual spaces?
Yeah. So first of all, if someone could send Craig the University of Iowa tour, so you can tour the campus at the University of Iowa. And as you go around, you can talk to the University of Iowa AI saying, okay, well, who's the dean of the College of Engineering and what's their background? Or, what's tuition on average at the University of Iowa? Things like that, while you tour the campus. And so, I know that our video went quick, but the idea is you choose your location and we'll add as many locations as we can. So let's say that we add, a slave ship, if you're studying that part of American history or British history. And you want to have someone on there that's answering questions about that really bad part of our history. You can put someone on there and they can answer questions about that, La Amistad or whatever the case might be. Or you could do the same thing in ancient Rome. You could do the same thing in a molecular biology lab. These are the amazing things that we can now do. But it does take training on your part. You have to train the brain because you might get answers that aren't quite what you're thinking about. Kate and then Simone.
Hi, Steve. University of Maryland Global Campus is very excited about this. Can't wait to report back to my team. One question I was curious about was, will the avatars be able to generate or manipulate objects?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So here's where, it's going to start out where they don't. Like it'll be more automated. So let's say you're doing a dissection of a human, and you're looking at human organs. Initially, it'll be automated. As we move down the line, and that might be 6 to 12 months away, Tyler Goodman's team is going to continue to add more functionality so that there will be more manipulation of objects over time. But initially, it'll probably be more automated to be able to show certain objects. So if you ask about the spleen, then you'll have the ability of spleen, and you might be able to say something like, please open the spleen up, and then it'll open, and that kind of thing. But that's where we will start, and then we'll go from there.
Thank
Simone,
you.
You're welcome, Kate. Simone, you're up.
Hi, Steve. Good morning. Actually, this is Charlene from BC Entertainment. I just wanted to, it is unrelated. I just needed to reach out to Cassie. If you don't mind staying on with me after the meeting, please. Thank you, dear.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, you know what? This language thing is really good. So I was presenting in Puerto Rico a week ago. And so, they primarily speak Spanish. I only speak English. And so I had them come up front and ask our AI a question in Spanish. And of course, that's the first time I've ever seen Wendy Martin speak Spanish, but it was flawless. So this is immediately a solution for students all over who we know that in our schools that, English as a second language is a big course. It's a big issue. Lots of students are enrolled in it. And this provides teaching just like that in whatever language students come to the table with. I can't remember how many languages OpenAI has given us so far, but all of the major languages, if you're speaking Gaelic, it might be a while. Who's next? Joseph?
Yes, Steve. I'd like to just follow up on Kate's question. It's about the AI agent and the capabilities. Do you see in your future, the agent having the ability to serve as an observer, for example? So I imagine a scenario, if I'm thinking about one of my kinesiology courses, where students have to go through some sort of actions, for example, trainer training or PT training. Would they be able to observe the user manipulate objects and discern whether or not they're following the correct procedures?
Well,
something like that.
Joseph, this is the perfect time to bring in our lead AI developer, because I have no idea what the answer to that is, except I know my Tesla is constantly watching and learning that way. So Tyler Goodman, how would you respond to that question?
Yeah, that is something we'll be able to do in the future. AI is already starting to release things that leverage images or video. So eventually, once they make those things public in the API, we'd be able to leverage something like that. For example, you saw in the CJ demo, his camera was on, Steve's camera was on. Potentially in the future, we could take another pass on that demo, and CJ would be able to gain insights from that video feed.
Great, thank you.
Ruben.
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering, are you guys thinking about teacher prep programs? Because like even looking at the CJ that you had, I mean, sometimes we're training teachers either to have parent conferences, work with other teachers, students, stuff like that. So that's something you guys are thinking about working on?
So I'm going to turn this over to Melissa Brent, who's in charge of teacher training in our company. But I will say that we've already signed a deal with one school district to come in at the beginning of school and do a 2-day PD program. So that's a possibility. We have a finite number of people that we can send for those things. But Melissa, what are your thoughts on that?
So the benefit of what we do is that it could go either way. If you wanted our team to explicitly train instructors on using the DIY dashboard, that's something that we do all the time. We love having seminars for things like that. But if you wanted to train a set of teachers on a specific task, that's where the DIY dashboard would come in. You'd be able to build your own lecture and QA based on whatever circumstance you want your instructor to practice. Both are possibilities.
Excellent. And I'm guessing, Melissa, that we will also build an AI that trains people how to use our tools.
That's definitely top of our priority list because it will be so fun to just be able to answer your questions real quick.
Yeah. I know we're a little bit over, but let's just see if anybody else has any questions. Yeah, we are excited about how assessment will work. And the things that you've seen here today on a Chrome browser also will be available in our virtual reality environments. They'll roll out at a little bit different pace, but everything's rolling out hopefully close to the same time. So a lot of great things happening, and please stay in touch with us. If you want more information, we're ready to be helpful. And if you already have a VXR license, which I know many of you do have, you are going to find that much of this is already available to you and is rolling out every week over the next, through the rest of the year. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, everybody. And I'm going to let John or anyone else stay on and answer questions. And I'm going to go do my next thing. So thanks all. We'll talk to you soon.